So Kyogre, even though it's a special attack, Kyogre takes a very, very decent chunk from that.
Right.
Also, another thing to watch out for here, Dane is known for his fantastic nicknames, so I am very, very excited to see these.
Yeah, they're pretty top-notch. He's traded me a couple Pokemon before. They've been godlike. As we do see the Thundurus and the Kyogre come out for Jacob's side, and Mewtwo and Scrafty out for Dane. Intimidate gonna come out, not really gonna make too much of a difference unless that Thundurus happens to be physical. But yeah, what do you see here in this lead? Potential for Fake Out, maybe?
Yeah. Scrafty and doubles definitely always carries Fake Out. One of the most important things about it, Intimidate. Intimidate's not gonna matter too much here. Well, it could be physical Thundurus. That's definitely picked up traction over the past few weeks.
Right. Yeah.
The Fake Out onto the Thundurus. Fake Out Ice Beam could potentially be enough to just straight up KO the Thundurus, which is definitely important.
Yeah.
He needs to be careful here because he's starting both by a powerful water move onto the Mewtwo or a potential paralysis from the Thundurus.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Scrafty here, the thing is that if he's carrying Protect on his Thundurus, it's a relatively low risk double Protect unless Mewtwo's carrying something like a Substitute or maybe like a Safeguard to protect it against Thunder Waves. Yeah, as we see,
Kyogre jumping out of the ring right away here. Going into the Salamence, gonna get that attack drop onto that Scrafty and potentially the Mewtwo if it's happens to be Mewtwo X. Thundurus opting to protect this turn, possibly predicting an Ice Beam. Fake Out going into that Thundurus, and a Substitute from the Mewtwo gonna hide itself behind that sub, preventing any potential Thunder Waves from the Thundurus.
This is an excellent turn for Dane here. The Salamence switch in is questionable. It does threaten the Scrafty, sure, but Mewtwo threatens it with just a straight up Ice Beam KO. This is not a good position at all for Jacob, because now he cannot Thunder Wave through the Substitute. Hyper Voice here is going to do a fair amount to the Mewtwo through the sub, but the Salamence could also just get completely destroyed by an Ice Beam.
Right, it definitely gets outspent here. As we do see it opting to Mega Evolve here, gonna see if it decides to protect or try to go for damage, as it does protect here. So Jacob trying to keep his Salamence around for a little while. Ice Beam going into that protect of Salamence there, as Thunderbolt strikes the Mewtwo's Substitute and gets rid of it. Scrafty going for Super Fang onto that Thundurus, gonna take it down to 50% HP. Quite an interesting turn there. Super Fang able to get some work in there.
Yeah, definitely. I was surprised there. Dane's generally a pretty aggressive player. I was surprised not to see him Ice Beam the Thundurus there and probably go for like a knockoff onto the side as well. Because now Jacob's in an excellent position where he can Thunder Wave the Mewtwo with relatively zero risk, because it's not in range of being KO'd by Scrafty. This is carrying like a rogue Stone Edge.
Yeah.
And Jacob could switch the Salamence out.
As we do see Mewtwo protecting against that Thunder Wave there. Tailwind coming up for Jacob's side, gonna double his team's speed here. Super Fang also going out into that Salamence, gonna take that down a little bit. So good, definitely good board position here for Jacob.
Yeah, Jacob's in a really good spot here. Now he's in a spot where he doesn't even need to Thunder Wave Mewtwo. He can just double edge it straight up, and it definitely should KO. If he's carrying Tailwind, there's a pretty decent chance that he's carrying double Flying Stab and not Draco. So if he's carrying double edge, it'll probably KO from this range. This is definitely good information though for Dane, and he's gonna learn a lot in these next few turns for games 2 and
possibly 3.
Yeah, possibly 3. Which is so important in best of 3 as we've seen all day.
Yeah, it's definitely a key difference between best of 1 and best of 3 events here. We do see Double Edge going into that Mewtwo slot, gonna pick up the knockout there. Not able to fire off that Ice Beam. the Thundurus goes for a Thunderbolt onto that Scrafty. Critical hit, still not even picking up half damage there as a low kick goes onto the Thundurus slot.
Yeah, not a good turn for Dane whatsoever. He was trying to get something switching out of the Thunder slot, didn't get it. What we see here is likely Assault Vest Grafted too. As that was a critical hit Thunderbolt.
Yeah,
it did not do much damage still.
That definitely signals that Assault Vest there.
Yeah. Also, the use of Super Fang likely suggests it too.
Right. So Groudon coming in here for Dane. What kind of damage do you think Groudon can do here?
Groudon's in a relatively decent position. It's going to take a chunk from Hyper Voice, but it can basically ignore Thundurus completely.
Right.
Unless his Thundurus is carrying like an HP Water and he switches in Kyogre. So some sort of crazy play like that.
Potential Swagger, maybe?
Swagger?
Yeah.
I mean, we saw Swagger onto Groudon last game.
Yeah, during last round.
There's no reason why that can't happen now, I guess.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised to see the Thunder switch out here and Dane try to nail the switch in with something.
But we do see Dane switching his Scrafty out for his own Salamence. Good quality nickname.
Quality nicknames again.
Yeah, Intimidate going off on both of Jacob's Pokemon here. Hyper Voice coming out here. Oh, Thunderbolt plus Hyper Voice able to take out Dane's Salamence.
Yeah,
right
just
away.
takes it out straight away. And we see a Rock Slide coming out from Groudon. Rock Slide Groudon, I don't know.
Oh, he gets the double knockout though.
It does get the double knockout. Dane is definitely in this game with a chance.
Yeah.
If there's a Kyogre lurking in the back, I don't see a win coming. But actually there is. It was revealed turn 1. That's right.
Yeah. No, there is.
So I don't see Rock Slide punches.
Possibly. And there's, again, the double primal. You have the possibility for some...
Actually...
Oh, wait.
Interesting here is that the Primordial Seed activates first, and then it Primal reverts.
Oh, so we have the sun up now, actually.
Yeah, now we actually have sun up, because the Kyogre was
already switched in.
Yeah, it was already Primal reverted.
Wow.
So that's a good show of VGC 16 mechanics. This is definitely the format that requires you to know the most about the smallest little game mechanics
right
to play perfectly. The sun being up is not what Jacob wants at all. The only question here is whether Dane can really do anything with that gift. Fake Out is pretty easily stalled by Double Protect, and after seeing Rock Slide, I don't see a substitute coming out from the Groudon or anything.
However, we did see that the Intimidate come out onto the Groudon.
Yeah, that's definitely favorable.
Yeah, as well as Protect from the Kyogre slot here. A Double Protect on Jacob's side, gonna scout out any Fake Outs and get rid of that threat immediately. Precipice Blades, not gonna do much here, as we see Tailwind expiring for Jacob.
Mm-hmm. Pretty expected turn there. Just Double Protect, stall out, Fake Out. Now, judging by Groudon's HP stat, it looks to be relatively slow.
Okay.
So probably not the best position here for Dane. Ice Beam plus Precipice Blades, even at -1, is likely to pick up the KO, and Groudon isn't threatening a immediate OHKO onto either Pokemon.
Yeah, as we do see Groudon trying to protect itself from that potential Ice Beam threat. It actually goes into the Scrafty target. Gonna do a decent amount of damage there. Precipice Blades gonna connect with that Scrafty. Gonna see if it's enough to pick out the knockout here. It lives with 9 HP. Super Fang going into the Groudon slot. Gonna take that down to half HP there. Wow.
Yeah, that's a very good turn for Dane. Very good read from Jacob, reading the Protect Super Fang play.
Right.
But definitely a fantastic turn on Dane's end, because this definitely puts him in with a chance. If Jacob wants to be able to KO the Groudon, he probably has to Ice Beam it this turn. And the speed tiers of the Groudons also come into play here, depending on which one's faster. Likely what I see here happening is the faster one winning.
Yeah.
The problem is that if Dane's Groudon's faster, then the Scrafty is going to live again, most likely.
Yeah, we do see Kyogre opting to protect here. Precipice Blade's gonna hit. It's gonna hit first. Able to pick up the knockout onto Jacob's Groudon. So, pretty key turn there, revealing that Dane's Groudon was faster.
Yeah, that's very important information for the best of 3, and also very good for Dane to be able to win this game 1. Assuming that he hits enough Precipice Blades to win.
Unless it was a speed tie, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could happen.
We saw that game with Mario and Evan.
Right, yeah. That was out earlier. Ice Beam going into the Groudon slot. Not going to be enough to pick up the knockout, and it looks like Scrafty is going to finish it off for Dane, taking game 1.
Taking game 1. That was a very good effort from Dane. He looked to be very down at the beginning, and Mewtwo didn't do anything except set up subs, stall some turns, and then faint. So very good turn there, or very good game rather from Dane, and playing to all of his outs.
Yeah, even at the end, he seemed like he was down like one Pokemon towards the end, and he was able to turn it around with the Scrafty and
yeah, definitely. Scrafty's something that we don't see, but definitely showed just how good it can be.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a solid 2015 Pokemon.
Yeah, definitely. 2015, 2014, it was good. It was good in those formats. It was good all throughout 5th gen, pretty much. Just haven't really seen that much this year, but definitely showing that it's still a pretty okay Pokemon.
Yeah, probably scared away by all these Xerneas tombs, most likely.
Yeah.
Not able to do much there. So as far as what Jacob can do here, does he lead with like Groudon here, or does he like pull out the Landers maybe?
I was thinking maybe he might try to pull out the Bronzong this time around.
Oh, okay.
Try to set up Trick Room, knowing that
Dane's Groudon was faster.
Yeah. You can set up Gravity and work through most of Dane's team. The Scrafty is sort of an issue to that, but the Bronzong would be a pretty solid adjustment here, I think.
Yeah. As we do see Thundurus and Kyogre coming out for Dane as well, or for Jacob rather, and Mewtwo and Crobat for Dane.
Yeah, Crobat coming out here is pretty interesting. Probably has a Quick Guard to protect it from the Thundurus Thunder Wave this time around, which is definitely beneficial for Dane.
Yeah, it seems like a threat for this Mewtwo trying to get some damage off on one of these Pokemon.
Yeah, I think it was also a pretty smart adjustment. Dane probably saw what I saw coming with leading Bronzong and trying to get Trick Room up. So he probably wanted to position Crobat to get off a
taunt?
A taunt to deny it Trick Room.
Right.
So good lead from Dane here. It's pretty neutral. Origin Pulse is going to do a ton of damage to both of Dane's Pokemon. Side Strike chunks Kyogre for roughly like 70% usually.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Any thoughts on where Mewtwo's going to strike this turn?
Probably back if
the movie serves you right.
Yeah.
Super Fang missing the Kyogre slot, I believe, here.
Yeah, the Ice Beam goes right
Ice Beam goes right into the Thundurus, reveals its Focus Sash. Gonna be able to survive this turn and fire off one of its own attacks here. Thunderbolt going right into that Crobat slot. Gonna be enough to pick up the knockout outright there. Maybe revealing a little bit of special attack investment. Water Spout going into the Mewtwo, and not gonna like that too much.
Mewtwo is... I think it's supposed to be a cat. Cats do not quite like water.
Yeah. And wow, turn 1. Already down 2 Pokemon here.
Yeah.
Is there anything Dane can do?
I mean, we saw him pull it out last game. I don't see it happening again this game. He's in a much less favorable position. Kyogre can switch out and have permanent weather control. Missing the Super Fang there was very crucial, because that would have cut Water Spout's damage down a ton.
Right.
And Mewtwo could have stuck around for at least one more turn.
Yeah, would Mewtwo have survived that?
I believe Mewtwo definitely would have survived the single target Water Spout there. Single target, but it would have been at about half health. So
yeah, it would have done a decent chunk at least.
Yeah, it would have definitely chunked it, but I don't think it would have fainted.
Yeah, so we do see his back is Groudon and Salamence here.
Yeah. Interesting adjustment from Dane not to bring the Scrafty this time around.
Really? Yeah.
After it helped so much, we do see Bronzong here.
Okay. Salamence opting to Mega Evolve here. Gonna see if it can maybe pick up a knockout onto that Thundurus at low HP. We see Thunderous going for a taunt right away into the Groudon slot, trying to prevent that from having a protect option later. Double Edge going into the Bronzong slot, not going to do a whole lot of damage there. As we see Fire Punch going into the Bronzong slot. Covering the options there, able to pick up a knockout.
Yeah, it's definitely impressive to read that. It's definitely a good turn for Dane there. I don't know that Double Edge Fire Punch would have KO'd the Kyogre though. So say Kyogre stays in and just Ice Beams, that's probably game over. But I suppose those are definitely the kind of reads that you have to make when you're down like this.
Right. Yeah, it's very difficult to make it back from a 4-2 position.
Yeah.
But we do see Kyogre bringing back the rain, hindering Groudon's ability to throw out those fire moves.
Yeah, Jacob's is in a pretty commanding position here. There's still ways that he can definitely choke the game though. Say he goes for a Protect on his Kyogre and tries to Thunder Wave the Salamence. Salamence protects, Groudon attacks Thunderous. Now Salamence can get a Double Edge crit onto the Kyogre.
Yeah.
Jacob has to try pretty hard to end up choking this game, but it's definitely still possible. Dane still has a chance to win here. I wouldn't call it a significant chance, but I see Dane's definitely playing those outs, protecting Salamence.
Protecting Salamence, going for a Thunder Wave into that slot. Rock Slide, going for some Rock Slide flinches here. We'll see if it's enough. It's definitely going to take out the Thunderous here, but will it be enough to flinch the Kyogre? It does!
Flinch.
Oh my gosh.
The Kyogre flinch might just be enough because he has
Groudon in the back. Sun is back up.
Sun is back up. Dane's Groudon is faster. And I think that's actually game.
Wow. Well, so what could Jacob do here exactly?
Jacob, he can hope to dodge some Precipice Blades probably. Man, he has to call whether Dane is going to go for a Double Edge onto the Kyogre or whether Dane's going to go for Hyper Voice.
Well, we still don't know if the Groudons are Speed Tied.
Oh yeah, they could still be Speed Tied. We see Dane's Groudon has a really high HP stat.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, we're not sure here. Hyper Voice going into both Pokemon, doing decent amount of damage. Dane's Groudon does go first. It does pick out the knockout on Groudon, but not the Kyogre here. Oh my gosh. This is a pretty close game here. Ice Beam going into most likely that Salamence there.
Yep.
Gonna pick up a knockout there, but oh boy.
Yeah. I think what Jacob had to do there was read the Hyper Voice play, protect Groudon, and try to get an Ice Beam KO. That would at least give him a chance to take a Precipice, fire off a single target Precipice, and he would just have to hit, and he would have had a much better chance of winning the game.
Yeah.
But of course, he had to read whether Dane was going to go for Hyper Voice or whether Dane was going to go for Double Edge. And he read Double Edge. Dane went for Hyper Voice, which is basically a last turn coin flip.
Incredible comeback by Dane there.
Both games.
Wow.
That was an incredible comeback both games.
Quite the amazing set by Dane there. How did it get to that point even?
I honestly don't know. He had to get the Rock Slide flinch. That was the first
that was
thing.
the key, yeah.
The Rock Slide flinch to stall out the rain was definitely the key. Jacob, he almost didn't want to bring Groudon to those games because he kept on screwing himself over by
bringing Groudon.
Yeah, by setting up Sun, and then he couldn't KO Groudon late game because he had Sun up.
Yeah, there's not much you can do there when you can't use your water attacks against what you're trying to hit.
Yeah.
I guess maybe that's kind of the crux of like double primal teams. It's kind of the curse.
Yeah. It's both a blessing and a curse. You can control the weather as you please, but you're also sort of stuck in a position where you can end up late game. You get Groudon in late, and then your Kyogre's basically useless, or you switch on Kyogre late game, and there's a Ferrothorn sitting right there.
Oh yeah, it's I can't do anything there. So
it goes both ways. It's definitely a very popular team, very good. But it has to be played properly, because you can definitely just outplay yourself at that point.
Right. So yeah, well played by both Dane and Jacob. We'll be right back. We're gonna take a few minutes to talk to Dane about his team and his amazing win. So
Yeah.
stay tuned.